Section 46 is often known as the section in the Doctrine and Covenants on spiritual gifts. However, spiritual gifts aren't really the source of what brings this revelation about. Let's look at the context of it. It actually has a lot more to do with this sign right here that most of us are extremely familiar with in the church. Not the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints portion of it, but the bottom down there, visitors welcome. It's interesting to ask yourself, when did we start printing that on our churches? And why did we start printing that visitors could come into our meetings? Well, Section 46 has something to do with it, with what brought it about. And this is just a great story with a little bit of humor as told by historian Stephen Harper. And just follow along with me here. Missionary John Murdock and his companions were preaching in Cleveland, Ohio, when a deceiver came forward and knelt as if to pray. But actually, he was giving, quote, a sign to the banditry to begin their abuse, end of quote. In other words, in the middle of his talk, there were some people there who were pretending like they were wanting to listen to him preach, and this person started to pray, but they had kind of pre-agreed with their friends that when I start to pray, then let's abuse these preachers. Just then, his cohorts blew out the candles and threw inkstands and books at the speaker. Later, back in Kirtland, the brethren counseled about the situation. Some, perhaps those with welts on their foreheads caused by flying inkstands, favored excluding from church meetings all who were not firm in the faith. You can see those like rubbing their foreheads going like, I don't think we should just let anybody into our church meetings. Others oppose this idea, citing the Book of Mormon where the Lord commands the church, quote, not to forbid any man from coming unto you when you shall meet together, end of quote. Both positions seem justified. Either let's open our doors or no, let's only have faithful people come into our meetings. The saints needed further light on it. Therefore, wrote John Whitmer, the Lord deigned to speak on the subject, that his people might come to understanding, and said that he had always given to his elders to conduct all meetings as they were led by the Spirit, end of quote. It's that context, that question of who do we let into our meetings, and if we let everybody into our meetings, then how do we make sure that they are led and directed according to the will of the Lord that brings about the revelation known as Section 46. As you study Section 46, you'll see the first part of it addressing this question of who do we let into our meetings, and the second part of it will address conducting our meetings as led by the Spirit, including manifestations of the gifts of the Spirit. Pay attention to how this context illuminates what the Lord teaches on this subject for the church then and the church today.